are going to experience one voice, Oakland Interfaith Gospel.
In African American spirituality, there's a lot of singing. It brings in the ability to maintain hope in the darkest hours.
I don't think you have to have any religious feelings whatsoever. I think you can be a stone atheist. It's more than religion.
We're multicultural. We're all different faiths and races. It's amazing. No one looks like us, and no one sounds like us.
The diversity, my goodness. Singing, the singing in one voice.
When people hear Oakland Interfaith Gospel Choir, they naturally assume it's all black because it's from Oakland. Not enough. Living in Oakland is cultural acceptance. Here you have a choir with up to 13, 14 different faiths represented, of people who decide to get along, to celebrate instead of tolerate differences.
He woke us up this morning so we can say thank you and give him praise.
Would I have met these people if I wasn't in the choir? Probably not. Each person in the choir has their own story.
Rehearsal every Monday. Every time I walk in there, I say, why am I the lucky one? It's such a good feeling to sing. As long as I can eat, pay my bills, doing music is what makes me happy. We
Monday evenings is my church. My parents say that when I was young, I would just sing, make up my own songs. If it was a 3-hour car ride, I would sing the whole 3 hours.
I was looking for the call and response gospel sound, and a friend of mine had told me that the Oakland Interfaith Gospel Choir was a good choir.
This choir for me is grace. There's just so much love and community and wonderful music that we get to share.
There's a lot of roots here in Oakland for gospel. And the other thing is Terrance.
My name is Terrance Kelly. I'm the artistic director for the Oakland Interfaith Gospel Choir. Second generation Oakland musician. Great is thy faithfulness. This is my mom's piano. My dad had this piano made. We had two parents that played and did world-class music. We'd have concerts at home. I mean, good ones. Never knew who was going to be walking around in the Kelly kids' house. There'd be rehearsals at the house, singers, professional people that my dad played with. My dad has a square over by the BART station in West Oakland that says Ed Kelly, jazz musician. As I look back and reflect, I see what a wonderful upbringing I had because I was poor. Who knew? Our parents took such good care of us. You know, we were strictly brought up. Street light come on, better be within the sound of mom's voice at all times. We were always singing somewhere, and that came from my mom. My mom would teach me and my sisters all three parts. We were not allowed to sing one. We had to sing all three.
Oh, Jesus, oh, Jesus, oh, Jesus, oh, Jesus, 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 oh, 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 Jesus.
Just to be a mediocre choir in Oakland is not good enough. Just to be a good choir in Oakland is not good enough. I want to be a great choir, an inspired choir. You can walk down any street in the black neighborhood in Oakland on Sunday, and you can walk by a church that can fit no more than maybe 30 people in it. And you'll hear choirs singing, and it'll sound like there's 100 people in there.
Back in the day, you were either a church musician or you were a club musician.
Well, baby, gonna miss me when I'm gone.
Oakland is famous around the country for having musicians that play in both.
I'll never trust your love again.
The blues and the jazz scene in Oakland almost rivaled New York's in the late 50s and the 60s.
I'll never trust your love.
West Oakland was popping. It was the spot to be, you know. Jazz and gospel, blues, funk.
I know
Well, you had the Gospelettes, the Oakland Silvertones, the McDaniel sisters, they still singing. So, you know, you have all this going on in Oakland.
The gospel music coming from Oakland, that was really the sound of Oakland. And it was something special, something different. In the early 60s, we were proud to be black, but still, you know, it seemed like the white folks had everything. And then James Brown came up with Say It Loud, I'm Black and I'm Proud. And then here comes Edwin Hawkins with Oh Happy Day. And all of a sudden we were walking around proud and black. Oh Happy Day was the first gospel song I ever heard on Top 40 radio. The way it was arranged, I said, where'd this come from?
I grew up here in Oakland, California, born right here. The gospel that I heard and the jazz that I heard certainly had a great influence on my beginnings of writings and all of that, but especially the gospel.
The gospel music coming from Oakland, that sound was borrowed by everybody. It was the energy of it. It was the soul, but it was rock, it was everything.
Terrance, I think, is one of the unique artists that we have, from spirituals, from traditional gospel to contemporary. He does it all. And you don't have many gospel choir directors throughout the country that can do that.
I do what I do because I love to do it. I love to see people grow. I love to see people change. I love to see people wake up. Well, I guess you'd say the choir sprang out of jazz camp.
In the beautiful mountains of Cazadero.
It's like the Burning Man of the jazz world. And there was Bobby McFerrin, Tuck and Patty, Andy Norell, on and on and on, these people that really actually weren't famous yet.
Stacy and I had each gone to jazz camp. And one of the magic things about jazz camp was the gospel choir. Anybody could sing in it, regardless of your background.
I walked in the dining room, and there were these people singing gospel music. My jaw dropped. I'd never heard anything like that. I mean, I was a Jew from New York. What did I know about gospel music? And there was this woman.
The director was Faye Kelly, Terrance's mother.
I was always her assistant by virtue of the fact that I was at camp.
In 1981, Faye died.
A lot of my drive to teach a gospel choir came from my mom.
People wanted to do it more than just a week. They wanted to sing gospel music throughout the year, but there was no other avenue readily available.
Either Stacy said or I said or we both said, wouldn't it be great to keep a gospel choir going all year long? Everyone said, well, maybe Terrance can take it over. He's young, but he's gifted.
You know, I wasn't sure, being a Christian boy. Is it okay to do a gospel choir with people that are not Christian? My pastor at the time, Pastor Newton Carey, he's like, you know, if you do the choir for 100 years and you touch one person, it was worth it. So we started the Oakland Interfaith Gospel Choir in March of 1986 with 23 members. You had people coming with no idea of what was going to happen. So we had to forge a way because there was no example.
I remember coming to my first rehearsal and not knowing a thing, other than the fact that maybe I could sing a little bit.
When I came to United States, I was looking for a place where I could sing.
I watched the movie, Sister Act 2, and then I fell in love with the music. That complicated harmony just hit me.
He said, well, you have to sing and clap and rock. And I'm like, sing, clap, and rock.
Things started happening. We started getting great press. Terrance, I think, always had confidence, but he was gaining more experience.
We began having performance opportunities that were important. The challenges were who owned the choir. Some of the choir members themselves came to those of us that were running the program and said, we want to be our own identity.
It was a little painful.
And then I would say over a matter of weeks, personally for me, I got it, that it was perfect. Terrance is a devout Christian, and he made a decision to take gospel music, which still is true, but even more so then, has a sense of ownership within the church, that he was going to bring that music into an interfaith world.
There are some Christian churches right now we can't sing at because we're not all Christian. Oh, Lord, here we go. We're neither nor, right? Right. So that means we have to be exemplary. You know, there are some black people that are going to come to hear us where gospel is everything to them. To some of us, it's an art form, but to some of us, it's our history. It's who we are. So it's very serious business when you're singing gospel music.
You walk into certain churches and you can see the prejudgment. Oh, they're not really gonna sing, so I'm just gonna sit back, and, you know. Then these people start singing and people perking up and standing up, and it's the realness of it that breaks that mold.
All of the glory, all of the honor, I don't know you.
I was trying not to go there with it right now.
Why?
Because everything is so heavy right now.
That's when you go in. That's what gospel is about. You gotta tell me something about you. All the stuff you said is generic. When I lost my father a long time ago, I thought I would lose my mind. But the Lord kept me
He held me close, and he saved my mind. He kept me, and I'm so glad. Yes, you'll wipe out if you tell your story, but you don't have a right to have this microphone and not. Belongs to you. Belongs to you. It belongs to you. Belongs to you. The struggle belongs to you.
I was with a best friend and in the wrong place at the wrong time, driving, a guy opened fire and a bullet went through the car door and into my leg. I'm here, I'm on 2 feet, so it's a very real praise. Whether I say Jesus, someone says Allah, someone may pray to the east several times a day, someone may go to church on Saturday, but they're expressing their praise.
Interfaith, which means many faith, which also means many people, different skin color, different race color, it's a big mix.
It is the blend of culture, race, faith, ethnicity. It's all of that.
We all are unconsciously absorbing messages about each other and particular groups of people without really realizing it.
Personally, I do not care about the brand of God. It doesn't matter. The real thing is the essence.
You're Buddhist? Fine. You're Christian? Fine. You don't know? Fine. If we discuss religion, our faith, we discuss it with the intent to inform, not to change.
Since I'm Jewish, it was quite odd for me to be singing about Jesus at the outset.
Jesus is real.
As time went on, the spirit of the music became more universal for me.
I'm born and raised in Oakland, and it opened me up to the amazing richness and power in African American music and African American culture.
Jesus is real.
So here is the house I grew up in. That bedroom back there, if it had been a stressful day, I'd just go in there, crank up music and sing along. I was just looking for a good Black gospel choir that I could somehow be part of, and it enabled me to have the diversity that I think I was seeking.
Oakland Interfaith Gospel Choir sings spirituals regularly because there's no American music unless it's indigenous peoples, First Nations music, that doesn't come out of the Negro spiritual or the work song.
We sing the music that birthed many other styles of music.
Spiritual work songs and slave songs freed the slaves. So I am adamant about keeping them alive.
Gospel music came out of the Negro spiritual. Christianity was forced on the African. So they found a way to include their past religion into their present religion.
They taught themselves to sing the hymns of the white church, which was being forced upon them, because it was a way to sing out pain, to sing in their joy.
Spirituals were developed because we wanted our freedom. And then from the spirituals, then was developed gospel music.
It started with people breaking the bonds of this narrow hymn base. And that became the forefront of gospel as we know it today.
Now let us sing till the power of the Lord come down. Now let us sing till the power of the Lord come down. Lift up your head, raise up your head, and sing till the power of the Lord come down. Amazing grace, sweet the sound that saved the wretch.
Just look at us, you know. We sing Negro spirituals. We're 1/3 Black. And so that's very different. And I've realized that that's a little unsettling for some people that say, well, you know, you guys are not all Black and you're singing Negro spirituals.
You know, when he's directing, he will often tell us that we sound too white. And there's something wonderfully, deliciously subversive about that. It really turns this trope on the head of hundreds of years of the white community telling the Black community that they sound wrong.
The next song we're gonna sing is from the perspective of an African-American slave woman. It says, how come me here? There's no freedom here. They treat me so mean here. Lord, how come me here?
How come me here? Lord, how come me here? Lord, how come me I wish I never was born. They treat me so mean here, Lord. They treat me so mean. They treat me so mean here, Lord.
African Americans used music to tell many stories, to lead people on the railroad. Imagine no lights, no cars, no buses, how much further the voice would carry.
There ain't no freedom here, Lord. There ain't no freedom here. There ain't no freedom here, Lord. I wish I never was born. They sold my children away, Lord. They sold my babies away. Lord, how come me here? Lord, how come me here? Lord, how come me here, Lord? I wish I never was born. I wish I never was born. I wish I never was born. I wish I never was.
Each time I sing that song, Lord, how come me here? I believe I channel something different, something that I didn't access before. I'm a social worker. The youth I primarily work with, a lot of times the trauma of being removed from their families causes different mental health issues. What I've come to learn and to know as a woman and now as a mom, in many cases, these parents are just like the woman in the song, where you feel you have no choice. Your back is against the wall.
Oakland, inner city America is going through gentrification. The rents are going up exponentially in a way where the average citizen of the city can no longer afford to stay in the city. What happens is you lose a lot of people of color and you have big culture clashes.
Local churches are facing criticism. Are the worshipers being too loud?
Taylor Memorial Baptist Church was over 130 years old. They were threatened with incremental fines if they didn't bring their noise level down. You know, you're in the middle of service and here come some police officers. But because you moved into the neighborhood, I now have to be silent. The black church has been the gathering place for black people for centuries here in the United States. During the civil rights movement, those songs from the black church became marching orders and war cry. When the Black Panthers were most active in the early 70s, they just sang church songs. They just sang harder.
You know, we shall overcome, I shall not be moved, wade in the water. A lot of those songs became slavery, railroad anthems, and thusly, in the 60s, they turned into civil rights anthems as well.
At that time, as now, the black church was a sanctuary. The feeling of sanctuary is being reestablished in the black community, and that is that feeling of we come here to be honest in a way that we can't be honest anywhere else. We can come here and talk about it. It's a scary time for an ethnic person in the United States right now. There is a need for some sort of hope. Getting back to that place of forming safe communities.
So you always go back to your roots during time of trouble. We've all heard our grandmothers and mothers singing, humming something, and it's a spiritual. But the spirituals are basically what got us through, what gave us strength during bad times.
I try to give myself a little time so I don't come in with my adrenaline pumping. And my shift starts at 2,300 hours, and it'll go to 0700 hours tomorrow morning. I work as dispatch for the Oakland Fire Department. We get calls transferred from the police department for assaults and things like that. No. You don't get closure from this job. You did your best to send the help as quick as you could. And then letting go.
We have a cause. We want to bring this music to the people who need it. We want to share it with those in need. We want to inspire and incite hope. Because when we sing and we go to the jails and the rest homes and the places that we go, we hope to inspire one person to get them through the next day or that evening. That's our message.
Once again, we're coming together to sing here and sing for these ladies and gentlemen who are incarcerated, and we want to sing for them like we're singing for the Pope or the President.
We bring love.
We bring love.
We bring joy.
We bring joy.
We bring peace.
We bring peace.
We bring healing.
We bring healing.
We bring forgiveness.
We bring forgiveness.
We send love.
We send love.
We send joy.
We send joy.
We send peace.
We send peace.
We send peace.
We send peace.
We send love.
We send love.
Everybody hug two people and line up.
Feel that, you know, I should be up there singing, you know, I shouldn't be back here, you know, where I'm at right now, doing a powerful thing by singing to the people that need it.
There was no politics going on, race boundary, or any of that. We stepped out of that for a while.
Everybody was sad at first, but after hearing that, everybody pretty much was smiling.
We're finally going abroad.
We've been talking about going to Montreux for decades. And the fact that we are able to go just feels like kind of a long time dream.
We have 3 sold-out concerts. 1, 2, 3.
So it's like a collective effort of people to bring the unity of Oakland to another country.
Let's work it. There you go.
Wow. I mean, like every 10 seconds, the view gets better.
Restoration.
Energy.
Joy. Love.
Peace.
That the audiences had for us singing gospel and the way they were tuned in and listening intently was one of the largest highlights for me, because it really showed me on a global level how impactful gospel music really is.
We're talking about roots tonight. This is where our music comes from, you know, and developing different motions and different expressions, but we have the common roots.
They sound like angels. These people can sing.
I'm not gonna have any more tears left after tonight, man. They're killing me. They're killing me.
A lot of the unrest between races right now is not new.
But our country and the world needs to see that people that are not alike can do something together, do something beautiful together, do something healing together.
Welcome to Copenhagen.
Doesn't it feel like we're just one big choir? Yes. That's what I wanted to happen. I'm so excited. I got goosebumps.
Love, awake, thankful, hope.
Oakland. Everybody hug two people and then separate.
Somebody comes from the other side of the world and they stand beside you and then you start to sing together.
You can feel it in your body, you can feel it in your soul.
I work Monday through Fridays till at least 2 a.m. My priority in life wasn't about making money. It's about life's experiences. And this choir gives me so many experiences. Each time we sing is a life moment I remember. I remember. Terrance said it's gonna work. And usually when he says that, it does.
So when it came time for us to choose a spot to get married, I think we just took a trip up here one day, right, and just kind of walked through and looked for a spot. Yeah. We found a little picnic area called Old Church. There was a point where the choir really wasn't ready to say publicly that we had LGBTQ people in the choir. And then through the years, I think we've all grown to realize how to be part of a group like this.
I hid who I was for many years. I don't hide anything anymore. This year will be 10 years with my partner, Atri. 10 years.
Atri and I are the godparents to her kids.
They ushered my baby in, and you know, it's just a wonderful family.
If this choir is my way of protesting and speaking out and demonstrating what we should look like, what this country should look like, then I'll stand it as long as I can, as long as Terrance will have me, as long as I have a voice to sing.
If we weren't here together, we might not know each other, we might not even like each other. But when we do this together, we love each other.
Worth saving, so you came and changed my life. You thought I was worth keeping, so you cleaned me up inside.
When you have love, you can have peace, you can have empathy, you can have patience. You can have some of the things that are necessary for people who are very different to come together. You can turn some tragedy into a triumph. That's a different kind of choir.
Please share.
Hi,
Can you hear me?
Jonathan.
Sure.
You have to.
Rochelle.
Hi, it's good to see you. And the music was absolutely uplifting.
Good to see you, Rochelle. Rochelle, I've known since I'm 14 years old. We were boyfriend and girlfriend in high school.
With quotes.
We were an item.
Okay.
Moving along.
Okay, I remember. I wouldn't have put quotes around it though.
And Bill, you wanted to share.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much, Jonathan. Wow, this is it was just wonderful, so full of spirit and joy. And I connected with some things from my past too. In Boston, I belonged to a Unitarian church, and I was in the choir. And it was, the nature of Unitarianism is interfaith. And so we sang a lot of songs from all different cultures, and definitely gospel. Our music director had gone to Duke, and so she brought all, the Negro spirituals, all the traditions, and it was just wonderful. So I connected with that. Also, when they went abroad, and one of the stops was Norway. That's my background, my heritage. So, I really connected with that, and I loved. Also, I just wanted to say there was a moment that they had for a few seconds that really touched me, where they had an exercise where they were singing. Two people would face each other and feel each other's chests, so that they could feel the vibration of their heart as they were singing. That was so powerful, and also to see your father. Yes.
No, that was my brother.
That was your brother. That was your brother in the choir.
He was in the right.
Yeah, beautiful too. Did you sing in the choir also?
No.
Okay.
No. I just cried.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you. Ernie.
Well, thank you very much. I wasn't expecting the show, but I was going to be here to support you. Okay. But what happened is what you were showing was basically my life. I was in Oakland and San Francisco at the time. In fact, I worked with Ed Kelly, Terrance's father, that's who they showed in the show. He was the piano player that worked with me in an organization that I founded called Music by the Bay for independent artists back in the 70s. Okay, so Ed Kelly was one of the people that would go to that we do in the performances, so forth and so on. Also from Bill, to hear about, please somehow let me know when the program comes on about the Seminole Scouts, because from my history readings, I know that Osceola, who is one of the famous of the Seminole chieftains that fought against the United States, in the Everglades were many African villages that joined with the Seminoles. So it wasn't just Seminoles, it was that escaped slaves would escape to the Seminole, to the Everglades, join with Osceola, and then they were doing it. And then when they lost the war, they were moving them to the west. They were the scouts to the 9th and 10th Cavalry, the Buffalo Soldiers. So that whatever that program is going to be with Bill is going to be very interesting.
Diana Wentworth said.
What? Oh, and so And one last, and I won't go on too long here, was the one of my very favorite songs was "Oh Happy Days" in Sister 2. And every time that song comes up, it brings such a feeling of energy and emotion and so forth and so on, as all the gospel music did. So I thank you very much for allowing me to share this with you.
And Ernie, I'll connect you to the director.
Excellent. Excellent. Bill said that right. Mm-hmm. Excellent.
Yes, Nita. You're muted. Yeah.
All right. I was humbled. I'm just touched to the core with that. So jealous of the spirit. I saw this on Facebook and shared it yesterday, and can't stop thinking about it. And so this morning was pretty good synchronicity. It's a quote from Nikki Giovanni. Style has a profound meaning to Black Americans. If we can't drive, we will invent walks, and the world will envy the dexterity of our feet. If we can't have ham, we will boil chitlins. If we are given rotten peaches, we will make cobblers. If given scraps, we will make quilts. Take away our drums and we will clap our hands. We prove the human spirit will prevail. We will take what we have to make. We will take what we have to make what we need. We need confidence in our knowledge of who we are. And it was, I read that probably 20 times since I saw it. So thank you for this share. It's just so deep. Thank you.
Thank you, Nita. Patricia. And then Juliana.
Thank you so much, Jonathan. I can see that the forte of the Staggers family is their voice in different ways. You guys have the voice. I was touched by the diversity and unity at the same time. And I was dreaming of what a world would be with this spirit all over the place. And it reminded me when my son was 10, on a Sunday morning, I told him, get well dressed, we're going to church. And he looked at me, Mom, you don't go to church. And I said, we are going to a different church. And I took him to the AME church in Los Angeles. When the choir started singing, I left my purse, I stood up, and I needed to dance. Their singing is moving on a spiritual, emotional level, but also physical. The energy is so amazing. And we danced most of the service. It was just pure joy. And they became very modern. They have cameras now, so there were 2 screens, and all of a sudden my son elbows, Mom, we're on the screen. We were dancing. And now listening, I feel like moving too, like dancing too. It's just, as I said, it's so moving in so many levels. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Juliana.
I just want to say thank you from the deepest place in my heart. You know, I grew up Episcopalian, and we went to church not because most of the rest of the family wanted to go, but because I wanted to go. But the singing was like really a lot of white people mouthing it, and the sound was pretty pathetic. And I just longed for something where there was real spirit. And like what Patricia described, you know, real spiritual caring and love in the singing. And when I finally got old enough, I actually went to Berkeley. It was late 60s, early 70s, which is when there was a lot going on there. And I went to my first gospel church, and oh my God, I was in heaven. And, you know, I'm not even a singer, I'm a dancer, but it's just the expression of spirit. It was so joyful to me. I was like in heaven. And I especially loved, especially because I'm like not a good singer. I was actually told that I couldn't carry a tune at one point by my brother, but still, you know. And I loved that part of the film where Kelly was talking to the black male singer that was soloing, like that, saying, you know, you have to sing your own story. Because if you have the microphone, you like owe it. It's like your obligation to share you and your soul and let it be heard. And that was such a gift to me and to everyone. I mean, wow, you know, what an incredible message. It was beautiful. I loved every second of it, and I'm so grateful for you. I'm like in heaven. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Sarah, did you? Oh, Eugenia.
Right. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh,
It's
good.
Thomas. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Well, this was just awesomely exciting. Thank you. When I lived in San Francisco in the early 70s, I used to go to Glide Memorial Church and Reverend Cecil Williams. And that's where I first learned about the joy of singing and dancing and being part and just feeling the unity. And the unity now that the whole choir brings is phenomenal into the world. And I just want to say I go to a lot of live music, you know, when COVID isn't around, but Mavis Staples is really keeps bringing it to the rock and roll world, and the rock and roll world has really embraced gospel in a lot of ways. And thank you for sharing the joy with us today, Jonathan, very much.
Thank you. Yeah, Linda.
There's something inside for me that the music just goes right in, and it opened my heart, and just tears of joy the whole time. I can see how people can be so moved, and it's so a blessing to receive something so worldly and human and right. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. Michael, and then Pamela.
Just a small thought is that what really affected me about this particular film, among the many larger spiritual things it brought, was that there was so much attention paid to the individual members of the choir and their individual stories and perspectives that came up. And it really made it, to me, seem so much more human. You saw the individual members and what they brought from different points of view, different ethnic groups, and yet all part of the gospel message. And I don't know that I've ever seen that before. And it was an extraordinary gift to see that idea, that sense of wholeness presented. So thank you for that, Jonathan. That was extraordinary.
Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you.
I just looked up Paris Gospel. I mean, gospel in Paris. So it's Paris, Paris, gospel, gospel.com in Paris. So, and then there's a whole site, of course, it's all in French, but I'm going to, and it says accueil, meaning welcome, and all this stuff. So I'm going to look into it. I love gospel because it affects the heart, the mind, the spirit, and the body. I mean, it all goes together. And I would love to be part of a church that merges all different beliefs, all different skin colors, all different heights, all different fat and skinnies, and ages, and dogs and cats and butterflies, of course. So this was spectacular. Thank you for this gift so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Pamela. Afton.
Everything everyone said, and I love the way the film was done. It's just a magnificently the graphics, and then the history, and then the individual stories. I used to go down to Watts area just on Sundays, just to sit in church and listen to truly the all Black gospel choirs, and I would be the only white, and I'd sit in the back. But it just moved me so much. And like my cousin Julianne, I love to sing, and I was told in elementary school to just mouth it. Because I would sing very loudly, very badly. And only watching this movie do I remember that I used to love to sing, and it was shut down to me when I was told, just mouth it. Don't let any sound come out. So thank you for a personal exploration of myself, as well as the beauty of everyone coming together. So thank you.
It sort of represents this organization, this group that we have here. Levita, and then Michelle.
Yes. Again, it's almost as if I forgot. The music is such an open invitation for participation. It's like, bring your joy, bring your sorrow, bring your heart, be welcome here. And like as so many have shared, it just touched me deeply. Of a reminder of how could I have forgotten, the joy of jumping in and participating. I loved all the motion. It was like the ocean, the motion in the choir, moving back and forth, and what moved you, bring that as well. And one thing that impressed me, that one of the places they were performing was the freight and salvage coffee shop, and it was like, bring your freight, we'll salvage what you need. It's like, that was just absolutely fabulous. And it's like, thank you, Jonathan. It brings harmony and unity, and there's a place for all of our humanness represented there. One of my favorite writers was Andre Crouch, in gospel, and I used to love singing his songs, and this was just such a fabulous refresher. Thank you so much.
You're quick, Michelle.
Well, first of all, thank you so much, Jonathan. I'm really still emotional from it, and everything about it was so exquisite and moving. But when that woman sang, "Why Me Be Born," I felt like, I felt that song in her voice in every cell of my body. And we talk about what is it like to experience somebody else's story, and we have to allow it in. And the way in which she sang it and the words, I'd never heard that song before, absolutely moved me in a way that was awesome and powerful and compelling, and allowed me to experience a level of pain and sorrow in the Black experience that I've read so many books, I've had so many discussions, but today I felt it. Today I felt it. And that is a huge gift. And the way in which they put the film together, and the stories and the sharing and the joy of singing. And like so many of you just shared, I was a song leader in high school, and I mouthed the words because if I were to sing, everyone I knew would hear me singing off key. And I chose to confront that fear just about 15 years ago by taking lessons from somebody that the final we had to sing at Tula's Jazz Club in downtown Seattle. And the first concert we did was in another space, and I found myself, I watched the video after, and I was apologizing to the crowd for my voice before I even sang. And I watched it, I sobbed in the presence of my instructor, my musical instructor. I said I would never allow a student of mine in storytelling to ever do what I just did. No wonder the little girl inside is afraid to sing if she's going to be criticized like this. So I said to him, you will never, ever hear me ever do this again. And I will show up and I will sing. And if I'm only 20% on key, so be it. I'm an apprentice. And that's exactly the attitude I had going forward. So watching this today and the joy of singing brought back so many memories. So I thank you for the incredible gift, and for that incredible song, and for the incredible message.
Thank you, Michelle.
Yeah.
Samuel.
I have a very big history with singing. I was in boys' glee in junior high. I was in choir and madrigals in high school. I was in the Santa Monica Oceaneers, which was a barbershop chorus, and I was in the Agape choir. And singing with other people is a wonderful vehicle for connecting the heart and the mind and the soul. There's nothing else like it. It really allows us to shine our true light. Thank you for sharing this.
Thank you, Samuel. Thomas.
Jonathan, yes. Jonathan, thank you so much. From 1962 to 64, I was at St. Joseph's Church in Oakland, and I was a little before the time, but I experienced Black music and really loved it. It just gave me something special. I just relived those memories. It was a Black church, and it had a double name, St. Joseph something else, in 62. But it just brought back great memories of joy, just joy. And I'm the world's worst singer. I'm kind of tone deaf, but I loved the Black spirituals. And Betsy was brought up on them, and we shared many times the experience of the Black spirituals. She was 6 and 7 years old in Virginia. Her grandparents would take her to the Black church, and they wouldn't let them inside, but they would sit in the car outside and listen to the Black spirituals. They were just powerful and joyful. Thank you again, Jonathan.
Thank you, Thomas. Yes, Diana.
Yeah, it was so poignant, and I loved what Michelle said. You know, it just affected me so deeply, and what it really brought up for me again this year was how much we had to put a lid on ourselves as kids, and I imagine most of you or all of you had the same feeling that it wasn't okay to be loud or noisy or, you know, especially women. I think we had to put a lid on ourselves, that we were just too much, you know, that it just wasn't okay. And I had a writing experience this year that tapped into some trapped exuberance that when I started writing about it, I mean, it was like I'd gone wild. And afterwards, I was embarrassed that I had read this thing out loud, but I was also felt really free from it. You know, I felt like a bird had been let out of the cage. And that's what I feel when I hear them sing like that. They were such an example of exuberance, you know, they had a voice for it, of being trapped in a situation and yet still being able to celebrate and to mourn and to love each other and be all they could possibly be. You know, it was just really, really deeply touching to me. So thank you, Jonathan, very, very much.
Thank you. Because what I'm hearing is everybody is recognizing themselves, recognizing ourselves.